Somewhere on your Connecticut home search is a town with a house that comes with a bill for the tax that starts at $1,059 per month. And that's before you ever paid a dollar for the mortgage. I'm Dave Jones with Dave Jones Realty, and there are three of those towns, and I need to talk you out of them or into them. It depends entirely on who you are, and one of them will flip before we're done. The one you'd cross off in 2 seconds is probably the best buy in Connecticut right now. So let's get right into it. The first one is Hamden. Now, Hamden is a real town. I want to say that up front before I say anything else. You've got Quinnipiac University, you have Sleeping Giant State Park, you're 10 minutes from New Haven, and you have actual restaurants with actual sidewalks in a downtown that functions. It's not someplace I'm picking on because it's easy. The median sales price in Hamden last year was $350,000, right in the middle of where most of you are working with. And you look at that number, you look at what $350,000 buys you in Hamden compared to what it buys you in a lot of places, and it looks like you found something. You found the hidden gem of a home. Here's what nobody puts in the listing. Hamden's mill rate is 51.88, the second highest in the entire state of Connecticut. Only Hartford is higher. So run it out on the median home sale price of $350,000, assessed at 70%, times the 51.88 mill rate, and your estimated property tax bill for the average house is $12,711. I've seen this happen. I had a friend, Tony, that was under contract on a property. We found the perfect place. He had been outbid on multiple properties. He loved it. We submitted the application to the mortgage broker. The mortgage broker received it and said, I was banking on Tony paying taxes of about $6,000 a year. These are $13,000 a year. Tony cannot buy this house unless he was paying $85,000 less. So we had to terminate the contract because the taxes killed the deal. It is super important to run the specific numbers on every single property, especially when you're looking in some of these towns, because the taxes can kill the deal. That's what we do now on every single purchase. I had another buyer come to me a couple years back, moving from out of area. They had this beautiful, clean pre-approval. They had done all their homework on purchase price, knew exactly how much they could spend, and they found a house in Hamden that they loved, very similar house to what Tony fell in love with. They were already emotionally moved in, and then when they ran the numbers, it was the same exact thing. It could not work. The tax in the escrows, the number was way higher than they were approved for. It's frustrating when you find your perfect house, but it's not perfect. The house was super affordable. They were approved for the house. The town wasn't affordable. They were not approved for the town. So Hamden filters on one question, and it's a simple one. Is your budget built on purchase price, or is it built on monthly payment? Because if you're purchase price buyer, Hamden looks like a bargain, and it will wreck you. If you're a monthly payment buyer and you've already run the escrow and the number still works, then you get a legitimately good town at a price that you would not get in most of New Haven County. Some people should absolutely buy in Hamden, but most of you shouldn't. And I want to be fair here because there's a real case for Hamden, and I'm not going to skip it because of the tax number. If you work in New Haven or you work anywhere along that stretch, you are 10 to 15 minutes away from it. You're not sitting on 84 for 45 minutes twice a day. There's true value in that, and that doesn't show up in any spreadsheet. Time is one thing you don't ever get back. The other great thing about Hamden, you have Sleeping Giant right there. You have the rail trail running through it. You've got a hospital system. You have grocery stores that are open when you actually need them. That's not nothing. A lot of towns in the state make you drive 25 minutes for a gallon of milk and then charge you almost as much in taxes anyways. And I'll tell you the other thing about Hamden that people miss, the mill rate actually came down this year. It was 55.61 last year, and now it is 51.88. So the town is moving in the right direction. Again, typically when mill rates go down, assessments go up. But that's a real data point and it's worth knowing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the bill for 12,711 is fine because it used to be worse, because it's still $12,711. So the honest version is this. If you work down there, if you're staying a long time, if you have run the actual monthly numbers with your own eyes and it clears, then Hamden could be a good decision. If any of those threes is a little shaky, it's not a good decision. Okay, now I need to stop and define something because I'm going to keep saying that these towns filter people out, and I do not mean that as an insult to anybody. When I say a town filters you out, I'm not talking about whether you're good enough for the town. I'm talking about a match. That's it. And I want to be clear about something because I'm going to keep saying it. These are not bad towns, not one of them. All three are genuinely excellent places to own a house for one very specific kind of buyer. There's a way you actually live, how far you're willing to drive, how you make your money, what you want your Saturday to look like, how much cushion you put in your monthly budget. And every town in this state has its own answer to those things baked right into it. And the town does not care what you were hoping for. I'll put myself right in the middle of this. I live in Prospect. I have for my entire life. I love it here, but I know exactly what the drive is, what it's like when you need to do something at 9 at night, and the answer is you're not getting it tonight. You have to go to other towns for just about everything. I know the difference between visiting a quiet town and paying the mortgage in a quiet town. They're two completely different things, and people blur them together constantly. Don't do that. And I've made the mistake myself, so I'm not lecturing anybody from up on a hill. We also bought a property up in Morris on Bantam Lake, and I had the whole picture in my head about how much time I was going to spend there all year, every season. And the reality is, the drive is the drive. And in the middle of January, when it's dark at 4:30, the picture in my head, what I actually do are not the same thing. I love that house. I still love the house. I love the lake, but I own it as a second place. And if I had tried to make it my only place, I'd have found out something the hard way. That's all a filter is. It's the gap between the picture and the paperwork. So here's what I'll do for you. Hop on a Zoom meet with me, with my team, and we will put together an actual budget. We'll talk about where you work, how you live, what you need to have close by, and what the necessities are in the actual house. We will help find the town that is right for you with the right monthly payment. This costs you nothing, and you'll know more in 15 to 30 minutes than you got out of 3 months from scrolling listings online. The other thing I would tell you is these filters are almost never about money alone. People think it's about whether you can afford it. It usually is not. It's about whether the thing you're paying for is the thing you actually wanted. Somebody who's home all day and somebody who's out the door at 6 in the morning are buying two completely different houses. So as we go through these next two, don't ask yourself whether the town is good. Ask yourself whether it's aimed at you. And keep the third in the back of your mind while we go through, because everything I just said about running the real monthly number is the exact reason that one flips. It's the one on the list you'd cross off in 2 seconds, and it's the one I'd write a check for. We'll get there, so stick with me. The second town is East Hampton. East Hampton is gorgeous. You have a beautiful lake that sits right in the middle of it. The town's got a real center. It's got the Connecticut small town look that people move here specifically to get. When people picture Connecticut in their head before they've ever visited, they're picturing something close to East Hampton. And it's a town that gets you both things at once, which is very rare. You get the water, you get the quiet, and you're still close enough to Middletown, Hartford, that you're not cut off from anything. The combination is exactly why the price did what it did. The market found out, the word got out, and the prices shot up. So this one's dangerous for a completely different reason than Hamden. Hamden's problem is the number you can see if you bother to look it up. East Hampton's problem is timing, and the timing is invisible. The median sales price in East Hampton in 2024 was $369,000. The median sales price in 2025 was $440,000, a 19.2% jump in 1 year. Now, that alone isn't necessarily the problem. Of course, prices go up. That's the whole reason people buy houses. But watch what the mill rate did at the same time. 4 years ago, East Hampton's mill rate was 34.53. This year, 39.71. And there was no reevaluation in there, which matters because when a town revalues, the mill rate usually drops. It doesn't actually mean your bill went down. That's not what happened here. This is a mill rate that just climbed year after year after year on its own. So you've got the price of the house running up 19% in 12 months, and you've got the tax rate climbing underneath it at the same time. Both numbers are moving in the wrong direction for you at once. On that $440,000 median tax bill, the taxes would be $12,231. That's over $1,000 a month again on a house that costs you less than Hamden, but the buyers thought they were saving. They're not. And here's the part that actually worries me about East Hampton. My friend Steve, who I was working with, who kept getting outbid on multiple properties over in Cromwell, multiple good offers, strong offers, clean terms, he kept losing them. This is somebody who does this for a living. He knows exactly how to write an offer, and he still can't get one accepted. And what that tells you about the whole middle stretch of the state is there's a real pressure on it right now, and it's not letting up. When a guy who does this professionally is getting beat repeatedly, it's not bad luck, it's the market. Now, pressure is a good thing if you already own there. Pressure is how equity happens. But if you're the one trying to buy into it, pressure means you're competing. And competing means you're paying whatever it takes to win, and paying whatever it takes to win is exactly how people end up at the top of a 19% year. Here's the math that should scare you a little. If you buy at $440,000 and the market flattens for 3 years, which it does sometimes, then you have to sell. You're paying commission and closing costs out of a number that hasn't moved. You could very easily walk away from the closing table writing a check, and in the meantime, you paid roughly $36,000 in property tax to live there. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I don't know what the market does, and neither does anybody else who tells you they do. I'm saying you have to be honest with yourself that it could happen before it does. When you buy into a town in the middle of a 19% year increase, you're buying at whatever the market decided the town was worth on the day you signed. And you are inheriting a tax rate that has been going up every single year with no reevaluation. Explain it. You're planning to stay 10, 15, 20 years. I guarantee you you're fine. Time smooths everything out. But if there's a chance you're moving again in 3 to 4 years, if the job's uncertain, if you're not sure if this is the last stop, East Hampton in this exact moment is a bad bet. And I'll tell you to your face if you were sitting across from me. So East Hampton should filter on how long you're staying. That's the whole question. Is it a long horizon? Long horizon, it's a beautiful place to own a home. Short horizon, you're paying a peak price, raising taxes, and if it's something you might have to sell, it might be a little bit of a soft market. So now hang with me because I told you at the top, one of these three flips and we're getting close to it. The third town is the one people cross off the fastest, and it's the one I would put my own money in right now. The third town is Norfolk. Norfolk sits all the way up in the northwest corner of Litchfield County, and it is, and I'm not exaggerating, one of the most beautiful towns in the whole state of Connecticut. There's stone buildings, real history, enormous stretches of protected land. Haystack Mountain is up there. There's a music festival that's been running for 100 years. It's truly stunning. It is also the town that will chew up more of you watching this than the other two combined. Norfolk sits at a high elevation. It is consistently one of the coldest spots in Connecticut. Winter starts earlier and it ends later. That's not a personality trait. That's a real thing that affects your driving, your heating bill, your roof, and your patience. There is no full-size supermarket in town, so you're driving to Torrington or over to Canaan for a real grocery run. It's not a 15-minute errand. It's a chunk of your afternoon, and you have to do it every week in February, in the dark. The job market up there is very thin as well, genuinely thin. Norfolk is not going to hand you a career. If you're moving to Norfolk, you need to bring your income with you. Remote work, retirement, a pension, a trade you run yourself, something like that. The town is beautiful. It's not your employer, though. The housing stock is also very old. A lot of it is very old homes in a town with real winters, means you're a person who owns tools, or you're a person who has a very good relationship with a contractor. And either way, you're not calling somebody who's going to be there in 20 minutes. Trades up in that corner of the state are stretched thin. When something breaks in January, you're getting in line. I want you to actually picture winter because this is where people fool themselves the most. In the second week of February, it's been gray for 11 days. The nearest real grocery store is a solid 25 minutes up the road. The town plows the street when they can. You've got a generator because you need one, not because you're the kind of person who buys a generator. And the closest neighbor is far enough away that you're going to have to make actual effort to get to know them. Now, some of you just heard that and felt your shoulders come down. That sounded like heaven to you. I know it did. And some of you heard that and felt a knot in your stomach because both of those reactions are correct. They're just correct for different people. That's the whole point of this video. The mistake is not picking the wrong one. The mistake is not knowing which one you are and which one you prefer, and then finding out after you've already spent all the money. And I'll tell you who I've watched do well up in that corner of the state because it's a real pattern and it's not who you'd guess. It's people who already had a life that didn't depend on the town. Somebody whose work is on a laptop and has always been on a laptop. Somebody who finished working and has an income locked in. Someone who runs a trade out of their own truck and brings the job with them wherever they go. Those people go up there and they thrive because they were never asking Norfolk for anything except the house and the quiet. And Norfolk has plenty of both. The people who struggle up there are the ones who need the town to provide something. They need it to provide a job, a good commute, convenience. Those three things aren't very plentiful there. Somebody to show up when the pipes freeze. Norfolk doesn't have those. This is what helps decide it. It's not the price, it's not the taxes, it's not the drive. It's whether or not you need the town to give you something. Most of you should not move to Norfolk. I'm being straight with you. If you need a supermarket, if you need a commute under 40 minutes, if you need somebody to come fix it today, Norfolk will take that dream apart in about 11 months. So you want to know which one of these three flips on you? One thing first, wherever you land, do not sign anything until somebody has run the real monthly number for you. Our team does that on a daily basis for our buyers, so reach out. We will partner you with one of the great agents at Dave Jones Realty. We have over 150 agents here to better serve you. We cover every corner of the state of Connecticut, and we would love to make you one of our valued clients for life. So the one that flips everything, it's the third one. Median sales price last year was $299,000, under $300,000 in Litchfield County, in one of the prettiest towns in the entire state. And the mill rate is 22.49. The estimated tax bill on that house, $4,707 a year. $392 a month versus the $1,059 tax bill I opened with. A difference of over $8,000 a year. Every year for as long as you own it. You're there 10 years, 80 grand. And it reevaluated this year. So the assessment is current. Nothing is coming for you to surprise you. Prices came down 23.1% last year while the rest of the state went up, which means there's a lot of room to negotiate right now. Norfolk, the best buy in Connecticut today, and almost nobody is looking at it. And if you want to understand why that mill rate matters so much and why a town with a low mill rate can still cost you more than a town with a high one, I made a whole video on it called The Mill Rate Trap, and it's right here. I'll meet you over there.